Egypt was, pretty much a paradise under King Osiris. The sun god Ra had given him the throne, and Osiris was wise and kind. He taught the people how to live well, showing them how to farm the rich black soil. He gave them laws to live by, and the people really loved their king. They built beautiful temples in his honor. The land was fertile, the Nile River flowed gently, and life was good for everyone. The gods smiled down upon the kingdom of Egypt. It was a time of peace and great abundance for all the people who lived along the blessed river. His queen was Isis, a goddess of great magic. She was as wise as she was beautiful, and Isis loved her husband Osiris very much. She walked by his side and helped him rule. She taught the women how to weave cloth and bake bread, and she even taught them spells to protect their homes and children. Isis was, in a way, a mother to all of Egypt. Her love and care spread across the land like the warm sun. Together, Osiris and Isis were a perfect pair. Their love made the kingdom strong. They were the heart of Egypt, beating with a steady and gentle rhythm. The land flourished under their care. The grain grew tall in the fields, the cattle were fat and healthy, and the people sang songs of praise for their king and queen. There was no hunger or sadness in the land. Osiris's laws were fair, and everyone was treated with respect. Justice was a real thing, not just a word. The gods on their high thrones in the heavens looked down and were pleased. They saw a world that was ordered and balanced, a perfect reflection of Ma'at, the principle of truth and harmony. This was a golden age, a time that would be remembered forever. Their family was part of this divine order. Osiris was the son of Geb, the earth god, and Nut, the sky goddess. He had a brother named Set and two sisters, Isis and Nephthys. Isis was his wife, and Nephthys was married to Set. They were all gods, powerful beings who shaped the world. But even among gods, feelings can be complicated. While Osiris and Isis brought light and life to Egypt, a darkness was growing in the heart of another. This darkness was jealousy. It was a small seed at first, but it would soon grow into a terrible tree of hatred and betrayal. Set was the brother of Osiris. He was the god of the desert, storms, and chaos. He was very different from his brother. Osiris ruled the fertile black land, the Kemet, while Set ruled the harsh red land, the Deshret. Where Osiris was loved, Set was feared. He had red hair and wild eyes. His power was immense, but it was a destructive power. He watched his brother receive the love and praise of the people. He saw the green fields and the full granaries. A bitter feeling grew inside him. He wanted what Osiris had. He wanted the throne. The jealousy festered like a wound in Set's heart. He saw the people's happy faces when they looked at Osiris. He heard their joyful songs. These things were like poison to him. Why should Osiris have everything? Why should he, Set, be left with the empty burning sands? He believed he was stronger and more deserving. He was a great warrior, a god of immense strength. He felt that the throne of Egypt should belong to the most powerful, not the most beloved. Every day his envy grew stronger, twisting his thoughts and darkening his soul. He began to think of a way to take the throne for himself. He started to plot against his brother. He kept his plans a secret. He smiled at Osiris in the great halls of the gods. He pretended to be a loyal brother. But behind his friendly words his mind was busy. He was designing a trap. It had to be a clever trap. Osiris was powerful and well protected. Set needed a plan that would work perfectly. He would use his brother's trust against him. He would turn the love and celebrations of the kingdom into a weapon. His mind, once just chaotic, was now focused on a single terrible goal, the end of Osiris's reign. Nephthys, Set's wife, was worried. She saw the darkness in her husband's eyes. She felt the coldness in his heart. She knew he was jealous of Osiris. She loved her sister Isis and her brother Osiris. She did not want to see them hurt, but she was also afraid of Set. His anger was like a violent storm. She tried to speak to him to calm his rage, but he would not listen. His heart was closed to her. He was consumed by his desire for power. The shadow of his jealousy was growing longer, and it was about to fall over the entire land of Egypt. Set decided to throw a magnificent party. He invited all the gods and goddesses. He said it was in honor of his brother Osiris. The halls were decorated with flowers and gold. There was music and dancing. The food and wine were the best in all of Egypt. Osiris was touched by his brother's gesture. He saw it as a sign of love and loyalty. He did not suspect anything was wrong. He trusted his brother completely. He walked into the celebration with a happy heart, ready to enjoy the evening with his family and friends. This trust would be his downfall. The centerpiece of the party was a beautiful chest. It was made of the finest wood and inlaid with gold and precious stones. Set announced that it was a gift. He said he would give the chest to anyone who could fit inside it perfectly. One by one the gods tried. Some were too tall, others were too wide. They laughed as they tried to squeeze into the magnificent box. It was all a game, they thought. No one knew the chest was a trap. It had been built to only one person's exact measurements: Osiris. Finally, it was Osiris's turn. He smiled and stepped toward the chest. He admired its beauty. He did not see the evil glint in Set's eyes. He lay down inside the box. It was a perfect fit. He lay there, comfortable and happy. Before he could get out, Set and his followers slammed the heavy lid shut. They hammered it closed with long nails. They sealed the cracks with molten lead. Osiris was trapped inside. His cries for help were muffled by the thick wood. The music and laughter of the party had turned into screams of terror and surprise. Set and his accomplices lifted the chest. They carried it out of the hall, past the horrified guests. They took it to the banks of the Nile River. With a great heave, they threw the chest into the water. The beautiful box became a coffin. It floated down the river and out into the great green sea. Set declared himself the new king of Egypt. A dark age began. The sky seemed to weep for the lost king. The land fell into sorrow. The golden age was over. The time of chaos and injustice had begun, all because of a brother's terrible betrayal. Isis was devastated. Her heart was broken into 1,000 pieces. Her beloved husband was gone. Her cruel brother-in-law was now on the throne. But Isis was not just a grieving wife. She was a powerful goddess. Her sorrow turned into determination. She would not let Set win. She would find Osiris. She cut off a lock of her hair as a sign of her mourning. She put on simple clothes and left the palace. Her quest began. She vowed to search every corner of the world until she found her husband and brought him back. She traveled far and wide. She disguised herself as an old woman so no one would recognize her. She asked everyone she met if they had seen a beautiful chest floating on the water. She followed the Nile River to its mouth. She asked the river reeds and the birds for news. The wind whispered stories to her. Some children playing by the river told her they had seen the chest float by. Their words gave her hope. She knew she was on the right path. Her magic helped her understand the language of nature, and all of nature wanted to help the grieving queen. Her journey took her out of Egypt. She followed the currents of the sea. The trail led her to the distant land of Byblos. There she learned that the chest had washed ashore. A magnificent tamarisk tree had grown around it, enclosing the coffin completely within its trunk. The king of Byblos had seen the beautiful tree. He had it cut down and made into a great pillar for his palace. He did not know that the body of the Egyptian god was inside. Isis knew she was close. Her magic told her that her husband's body was within the walls of that very palace. Isis went to the palace in Byblos. She sat by the well, looking sad and weary. The queen's handmaidens came to fetch water. Isis used her magic to braid their hair and make them smell of sweet perfume. When the queen saw her maids, she was impressed and asked to meet the mysterious stranger. Isis was brought before the queen and soon became a nurse to the young prince. She revealed her true identity and the reason for her journey. The king and queen were in awe. They gave her the pillar. Isis had finally found her husband, but her work was far from over. Isis carefully cut open the great pillar. Inside she found the chest. She opened the lid and looked upon the face of her beloved Osiris. He was still and silent. Tears streamed down her face as she embraced his body. She carried the chest back to Egypt in secret. She hid it deep in the marshes of the Nile Delta. She did not want Set to find it. Here among the tall papyrus reeds, she could work her magic in peace. She knew she had to act quickly. Set's spies were everywhere and the land suffered under his harsh rule. Using all her knowledge and power, Isis began the ritual to bring Osiris back. She was a goddess of life and magic. Her sister Nephthys, who had left Set, came to help her. Together, the two sisters chanted ancient spells over the body. They transformed themselves into birds, kites, and flew around him. Their wings beat the air, and with each beat they breathed life back into his lungs. Isis's love was the most powerful magic of all. It was a force that could challenge death itself. She would not accept that her husband was gone forever. But, their magic was not enough to bring him back to the world of the living permanently. He could be revived, but not fully restored. Isis knew she needed an heir who could challenge Set, and reclaim the throne. Through her powerful magic, she conceived a child with the revived Osiris. This child would be Horus, destined to avenge his father and restore order to Egypt. After this final act of love and creation, Osiris had to depart. He could no longer stay in the world of the living. His journey was now to the underworld. Osiris became the king of the Duat, the Egyptian underworld. He became the judge of the dead, a just and merciful ruler in the afterlife. Though he was gone from the physical world, his spirit lived on. And in the marshes of the Delta, Isis was now protecting their son. She had succeeded in finding her husband and ensuring his legacy. She had created the hope for Egypt's future. Her quest was a testament to her love and power. Now, she had a new duty to raise her son Horus and prepare him for the great battle that was to come. Section 6. The Hidden Prince. Isis knew that Set would try to kill her son. Horus was a threat to his illegitimate rule, so she kept Horus hidden deep within the floating island of Kemet in the papyrus swamps. It was a secret place, protected by her magic. She raised him there, away from the prying eyes of his uncle. She was a fierce and protective mother. She taught him stories of his father, Osiris. She told him about the Golden Age and the terrible betrayal. She planted the seed of justice in his young heart. Horus grew up knowing his destiny was to reclaim his father's throne. Life in the marshes was dangerous. Scorpions and snakes lurked in the water. Set sent his evil creatures to find and kill the child. One day a scorpion sent by Set stung Horus. The child fell terribly ill, his body burning with poison. Isis let out a cry of despair that reached the heavens. The sun god Ra heard her and stopped his boat in the sky, plunging the world into darkness. He sent Thoth, the god of wisdom and magic, to help her. Thoth gave Isis the powerful spell to cure her son. She drew the poison out of him and Horus was saved. As Horus grew from a boy into a young man, he became strong and brave. He learned to hunt and fight in the difficult terrain of the marshes. The god Thoth continued to be his teacher, instructing him in wisdom and strategy. He learned about the laws of Ma'at, the principles of truth, balance and order that his father had upheld. He understood that his quest was not just about personal revenge. It was about restoring harmony to the entire cosmos. His purpose was to defeat chaos and bring justice back to the two lands of Egypt. When Horus came of age, he was ready. He was no longer a hidden child but a powerful god with the head of a falcon and the heart of a king. He emerged from the marshes, his eyes burning with purpose. He presented himself before the council of the gods. He demanded his birthright. He challenged Set for the throne of Egypt. The time for hiding was over. The time for battle had begun. The gods watched with anticipation. The fate of Egypt hung in the balance, waiting for the outcome of the great conflict between the uncle and the nephew. Section 7. The Contendings of Horus and Set. The great trial began before the Ennead, the council of the most powerful gods led by Ra. Horus stated his claim clearly. He was the son of Osiris, the rightful heir to the throne. Set scoffed at this. He argued that Horus was too young and inexperienced. He claimed that he, Set, was the only one strong enough to rule Egypt and protect it from its enemies. The gods were divided. Some, like Thoth, supported Horus and the principle of rightful inheritance. Others were impressed by Set's strength and favored him. The arguments went on for a very long time. Frustrated by the endless debate, Set challenged Horus to a series of contests. He wanted to prove his superiority through strength and cunning. The first contest was a boat race, but this was no ordinary race. Set declared they would race in boats made of stone. Horus, advised by his mother Isis, was clever. He built his boat from wood but covered it with plaster to look like stone. Set, in his arrogance, carved a boat from a real mountain peak. When the race began, Set's heavy stone boat immediately sank. Horus's boat floated perfectly. Set was furious at being tricked. Enraged, Set transformed himself into a hippopotamus and attacked Horus's boat, trying to capsize it. The battles became more violent and strange. They fought as men, tearing at each other with their bare hands. They transformed into various animals, continuing their combat in the sky and on the land. In one brutal fight, Set tore out one of Horus's eyes. The eye was shattered into 6 pieces. But Thoth, the god of magic, found the pieces and healed the eye. This restored eye became the powerful symbol known as the Wadjet, or the Eye of Horus. The contests continued for 80 years. The land suffered while the two gods fought. Finally, the gods decided to seek the wisdom of the deceased king Osiris. They sent a letter to the underworld. Osiris wrote back, demanding to know why his son had not been given the throne. He reminded them that he was the one who provided the world with barley and wheat. He threatened to send demons from the underworld to attack them if they did not deliver justice. His powerful words finally swayed the council. The gods had to make a final decision. Section 8. The Price of Victory. The Council of Gods, moved by the letter from Osiris, finally declared their judgment. They ruled in favor of Horus. He was the rightful heir, and the throne of Egypt belonged to him. The long and painful struggle was over. Justice had prevailed. Set was defeated, not just by Horus's strength and cleverness, but by the undeniable truth of his claim. The gods ordered Set to return the throne to its rightful owner. The principle of Ma'at, of divine order, was finally being restored after 80 years of chaos and uncertainty under Set's rule. Set, however, did not accept his defeat gracefully. In one final, desperate act of defiance, he refused to yield. The final confrontation was brutal. Horus, empowered by the judgment of the gods and the spirit of his father, fought with renewed vigor. He finally subdued his uncle. He did not kill Set. Instead, Set was captured and brought before the gods in chains. His power was to be redirected. Ra gave Set a new role. He was to become the voice of thunder and the protector of Ra's solar barge as it traveled through the dangerous underworld each night, fighting the serpent Apep. Horus's victory came at a great cost. He had lost his eye in one of the battles, a permanent reminder of the struggle. Even though Thoth had magically restored it, the injury was a symbol of the sacrifice required to achieve justice. The long years of fighting had also left scars on the land of Egypt. The people had suffered under Set's chaotic reign. It would take time and effort to heal the kingdom and restore the prosperity of his father's time. Victory was sweet, but it was not without its bitter price. Before ascending the throne, Horus performed one last important act. He traveled to the underworld to see his father Osiris. He brought with him his restored eye, the Wadjet. He offered the healed eye to his father as a gift. By magically placing the eye on Osiris, Horus gave him new life and power in the underworld. This act of love and devotion was the final step in his journey. He had not only won the throne for himself but had also honored his father and ensured his eternal reign in the Duat. Now, he was truly ready to rule. Section 9. The Eye of Horus and the Just King. Horus took his place as the king of all Egypt. He united the upper and lower lands under one crown, just as his father had done. His reign marked the beginning of a new era of peace and prosperity. He ruled with wisdom and justice, guided by the principles of Ma'at that he had fought so hard to restore. The people rejoiced. They finally had a true and rightful king on the throne. The fields became fertile again, the Nile flowed peacefully, and order was returned to the world. The memory of the golden age of Osiris was reborn under the rule of his son. The Eye of Horus, the Wadjet, became one of the most important symbols in ancient Egypt. It represented healing, restoration, sacrifice, and protection. It was a reminder that even after being broken and shattered, things could be made whole again. Egyptians wore the symbol as an amulet to protect them from evil and to bring good health. It was painted on coffins to protect the dead on their journey through the underworld. The eye that Horus sacrificed for his father became a powerful symbol of hope and renewal for all people. Horus's story was more than just a tale of gods fighting. It was a foundation for Egyptian kingship. Every pharaoh who ruled Egypt was seen as the living embodiment of Horus. The pharaoh was the protector of the people, the one who maintained Ma'at and fought against the forces of chaos, represented by Set. The myth provided a divine model for kingship, linking the earthly ruler directly to the gods. The pharaoh was Horus on earth, and upon his death, he would become Osiris in the underworld, making way for the next Horus to rule. The eternal struggle between Horus and Set became a central theme in Egyptian thought. It represented the cosmic battle between order and chaos, good and evil, life and sterility. This was not a battle that was won once and forever. Chaos, like the desert sands ruled by Set, was always present at the borders of their ordered world. Every day, every season, the principles of Ma'at had to be actively maintained. The story of Horus gave the Egyptian people confidence that with vigilance, devotion, and rightful leadership, order would always triumph over chaos, and life would continue to flourish in their beloved land.